I am going to give you the exact formula that I have used myself every time I have manifested something I didn't believe I could manifest. And this is also the exact same formula that I have used to manifest things that I didn't know I could manifest. Because there have been times where I have wanted experiences that I had never had before. So I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know how it would be, how I would be, how my life would look like if I had that thing or that experience, but I knew I wanted it. And it can create quite a bit of chaos when you're in a situation like that. So if you are someone who is having doubts about your manifestation, especially if you don't believe you can manifest it or you don't believe that thing is possible to happen in the 3D, definitely stay with me because we need to talk. Of course, it's very possible, but I'm going to give you the solution. And also, if you are manifesting something that is very unfamiliar to you, it's going to be the same way you would go about it. So, welcome to my channel. My name is Anna, and I'm a manifestation coach. On this channel, I teach the law of assumption as taught by Neville Goddard, while also keeping it simple and practical so that you can take it and apply it to your manifestations right away. This video is going to be a lot about applying it, by the way. And I do offer one-on-one coaching and class coaching for those of you who need guidance and assistance for your specific situations. The link is always in the description box below. Make sure to check that out, and let's talk about how to manifest something that you simply just don't believe it can happen. In order to understand why you need to do something, it is very important to understand how manifestation works. Now, you don't need to understand how it works for it to work. You could just take it and apply it and do the thing, and it would work just the same because it doesn't care whether or not you understand the mechanics behind it. The reason I find understanding why you do it, why you do what you do is very helpful is because it helps you to keep going because you know why you're doing it and you know how it's going to be, how it's going to feel, etc., so that you know what you're going through while you're going through it. And we know that if you give up and stop in the middle of a manifestation, let's call it process, it's not going to manifest. It's not going to manifest on its own because you are the operant power. It's going to manifest only through you. So, therefore, understanding the basics is fundamental. You can only experience anything in your 3D life that you have manifested. It's everything. A lot of people think that they are manifesting only those couple of specific things that they are specifically manifesting. It's not it. Everything else is also your manifestation. Otherwise, it would be impossible for you to experience it. Therefore, in order to change an experience or have a new experience in your 3D life, it needs to go through your imagination first. And that is why we do all this mental work of changing the stories, creating new stories, etc., getting rid of limiting beliefs and what have you. So therefore, in order to have that experience, it needs to pass through your mind. What to do if you don't believe it? Go back to these basics because be technical. You have heard me say this a lot, and I'm going to repeat it. When you become technical about manifestation, it gets rid of a lot of the resistance and the doubt, which means that first of all, if you keep focusing on the 3D and what's possible, not possible in the 3D is very limited. It is going to create a lot more resistance and doubt for you. So if you bring your attention back to yourself and the part of you that is going to create your wanted situation, your mind, and treat it as an instrument, at least for the period of time that you need to do it in order for you to get rid of that unwanted, unnecessary resistance. It's going to make you feel empowered, and that is where change happens also in your mind. So if I am in a situation where I'm manifesting something that I don't believe because in the 3D it looks like it's never going to happen, I bring my attention back to myself, and this is what happens in my mind, in your mind in this case. If I want something, it's only about me convincing myself of that thing being true, not changing anything in the 3D, not forcing someone to do something, not convincing someone else to do something. That is where you feel powerless, because when you are trying to convince people to do stuff in the 3D, it's going to backfire. And the reason it's going to backfire is because you are going to experience your current assumptions and beliefs anyway. So there's no point in doing anything in the 3D. Bring your attention back to you and remind yourself that all you need to do is to convince yourself. Also remember that your conscious mind and your subconscious mind work differently. Your conscious mind, where you learn something, you have an information, you learn something new, and now you know it. That's your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind works through programming. In order to program it to do something or change a current programming, it needs repetition. In a lot of cases, feeling it also brings it about. Actually, feeling things as true is also a way of programming your subconscious mind. But what to do if you don't know how that thing feels because you've never had it before, or you just have so much doubt that you, again, don't know how it would feel if you were in your desired outcome in that situation. You have heard me say a lot, if those of you who have been following me, I always say pick the method, pick the technique that works for you. And now it's going to probably make more sense why I'm saying that. A lot of people have this thing where they use the same technique for everything they manifest. If that works, keep doing it. For me, I use different techniques in different manifestations for different situations because sometimes something just doesn't work in that particular case for me. So I have a whole arsenal, the whole arsenal that I know of manifestation techniques that I use. So what you do if you just have no belief in your manifestation is remind yourself that you don't need to believe in it, first of all, to at least get started. Eventually, you're going to come to a place where you actually believe it, but that's not where we start. If you can start there, that's wonderful. I'm definitely not going to stop you. You're doing it. You're doing great. So do that. But if you just don't believe, you have no belief in this thing because that's not your experience. You start putting the seeds in your mind with a thought. So this is where I would prefer affirming. If you have a situation that you can clearly visualize and you'd rather do that, do it. But usually I go about this with affirmations. I am a big visualization girl. I love visualizing. I love inner conversations. I love using all the senses in my imagination. But I also use affirmations where it's more practical. So let's say you are manifesting becoming a multimillionaire, but you have always struggled with money. How do you go about it? How do you know what that looks like? How do you know? This is just an example, by the way. The same applies to health. The same applies to loving, fulfilling relationships. So what you do is you phrase it in a way that's clear and simple. You want to have an X amount of money, or you want to have an abundance of money in your life. What you need to do is to repeat it. So I told you that a lot of you are probably already doing this, and this is not a secret, of course. There's genuinely no secrets in manifestation. This is not one of those, oh, the biggest manifestation secret no one tells you about. A lot of people are talking about this, but the point of this video is to inspire you to apply it, because a lot of people know this, but a lot of people are not applying it. What you do is you create your affirmation based on what you actually want. What do I want? I want abundance. I want financial freedom. I may not know how it feels. I may not know how it looks. And I may absolutely not believe it could ever happen for me because of X, Y, Z, because of my past, because of the current economy, because of whatever. All you need to do is repeat that statement. And this is where I don't recommend robotic affirmations, because when you put focus and attention on something, it starts creating the feeling state of it. By the way, if you're doing robotic affirmations and it works for you, keep doing it. I'm not going to stop you doing something that actually works for you. But if you're not doing robotic affirmations, give this a try. Actually focus on what you're thinking when you are affirming. So I have this amount of money, or I am, for example, I am loved, I am respected. If you have been struggling with self-concept, these could be some things that you might want to experience. I am loved can be so many different things. It can manifest in your romantic situation. It can manifest with your friendships, with your friends, with your family, with co-workers. So there are many different types of love that you may want to experience. But you may have had bad experiences in the past, and you may not know what it looks like. And that is also usually the reason you don't believe in it. So what happens when you keep repeating, I am loved, I am loved, I am loved? There comes a moment where you go, this is bullshit. I don't believe this. I don't feel this. I don't even know. Keep going. This is where you keep going. This is where you focus on that statement. Because when you keep focusing on it, your mind will have to, this is law, it will have to figure it out. It's not for your conscious mind to figure it out. It's not for you to figure it out. How am I going to experience this? Or how am I going to make all this money? How am I going to get healthy? The doctor says it's not possible. Leave that to the doctor. Leave that to everyone else. You keep repeating your statement, your affirmation in your mind. Full focus on it. At some point, what happens is that your mind starts searching for that experience. What happens is also that your mind starts coming up with possible scenarios. So I have heard from several clients that they don't imagine when they affirm. Maybe this is the case for you, but your mind still thinks in images. But a lot of people, and myself included, when I affirm, visualizations pop up. It gives me scenarios. It gives me things that, or situations that come to mind that, ooh, this could be it, or that could be it. Don't go to how it's going to happen in any case, not the positive, not the negative. That's irrelevant for your manifestation. It's not for you to figure it out. But your mind will start coming up with these scenarios. And when, again, focusing on it, you will notice, and I really want to challenge you to start focusing on your affirmations, because that for me, it's a game changer. It starts also creating the feeling state that goes with that statement. It's not going to happen right away. It may, but if it doesn't, don't give up and saying that this doesn't work, it doesn't feel like anything. At first, it's going to feel random, like you're talking about someone else. It's also going to bring up resistance, but these are not rules, by the way. Please don't take these as assumptions that you need to have resistance and have bad experience when you're affirming. This is not a rule, but it can happen. It can bring up old stuff. It can make stuff go crazy in the 3D. Your job is to stay concentrated on your affirmation. Because at some point, your mind, because you are repeating it, only because you are repeating it, your mind is going to take it as true. Not because you are believing in it, not because you have figured out how to go about it, but only because you keep repeating it. It has to sink into your mind. And when you do it with focus and attention, that process happens quicker and easier, and is actually also more pleasant. And when your mind starts accepting it as true, that is where resistance dissolves. That is where you start seeing that, oh, this is actually possible. It does something to your self-concept also, that you start feeling like the person who could have it. That's a huge step forward. So what I have done, like now having had all the experience with conscious manifestation, a lot of doubt fades away just completely. But it can still pop up. But at least in the beginning, where I wanted to manifest things that I didn't believe in any of it. But then I said to myself, I have learned that if I keep repeating this thought over and over and over, at some point it has to manifest. I don't know how. I don't have to figure out how. And it manifested. Things manifested. I have manifested several things. I don't have one story to tell you. It has been like many things. Just because you keep repeating a thought, it has to manifest. But, and here's what not to do. What not to do is not to give in to the old story when it comes up. When it comes up, treat it as such. Okay, this is old story. This makes me feel bad. Okay, I feel bad. I feel like it's true, but I know that this is my just old beliefs. This is how you become technical about it, and this is why it helps, because you realize that, okay, I'm just telling myself a story that isn't helpful. I don't want any more of this experience. So all I need to do is repeat my desired outcome and watch everything else follow. So it starts creating images for you, scenarios. It starts creating the feeling state. The way you feel in your body and the way you feel about yourself is a manifestation of your story. So everything starts with your mind. Again, whether you imagine it or whether you have your inner conversation or affirm, whether you affirm. So this is where I find that affirmations are the simplest way to at least start, because you can think yourself to, what do I actually want in this situation? I want to make an X amount of money a month. That is a very clear statement. You may not believe it. You may not know how to go about it. You may not know how it's ever going to happen, but you know what you want. That's where you start. I want to feel X, Y, Z in my body. I can I can put it in a sentence and repeat it to myself, even though I don't know how it feels. Because me repeating that affirmation, that thought to myself, like it's true, is going to create the feeling. So I'm going to know how it feels as a result of repeated affirmation. And keep going, because it works. It has worked for so many people. It's going to work for you. You're not different. You're not different than anyone else who has ever manifested their desire consciously. So you don't have to believe in your manifestation. You don't even have to. I would prefer you believe in yourself, but you don't even have to, because you are going to. After you see the results, you will believe more in yourself and your future manifestations. So start with figuring out, what do I want? Put it in a sentence. I want this thing. Start saying it to yourself like it's true. I am going to link a video that I made about resistance, which is also very related to this topic, because that is about how resistance can come up. Again, I don't want to create unnecessary limiting beliefs for you. But resistance can come up as a result of your affirming. And that is where you shouldn't stop affirming. You shouldn't give up on your manifestation, which is something that a lot of people do. And in that video, I explain why it happens and actually how to go about it. I am also telling you it through my own experience, how I figured it out, and it's very interesting. So make sure to check that out. I'm going to link it right here, and have a beautiful day and see you in the next video.